Hello, and welcome back to Beast Fables, a weekly show where we follow the lives of tiny animals in a massive forest. I am Brian, and I'll be your narrator for today's adventure. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the founder of Dungeons on a Dime, a publishing imprint creating entry-level tabletop role-playing game content. You can find some of the awesome games that I make, along with all my cool friends, over at doad.co.uk, such as Adventures on a Dime 2nd Edition, Vice and Virtue, and Scurry, and even Apothecaria soon. The Kickstarter has like 24 hours left. We've just hit like almost 7k. It's just vibing and livin'. I am joined today by three astute friends, Ver, Atlanta, and Eve. Eve, do you want to introduce yourself today?
Oh my god, you caught me off guard there. I never go first.
It's Halloween. Get ready for a shock.
Get ready for a spook. I'm Eve. I'm going to be playing Thistle the Lizard, and you can find me at Eve G. Wood on social media.
Delightful. In reverse order, Ver, do you want to say hello?
Most certainly. Hello, everybody. I don't know why I'm so sullen. Hello, everybody. My name is Ver. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm an illustrator and comic artist. And in today's game, I will be playing Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, a toad knight.
Blueberry Pond.
Blueberry Pond! A toad knight and mud fury.
I think we should definitely have like a full toad adventure one day, and it's just like Downton Abbey.
Oh my god. It's all toads.
All toads. And last but not least, Atlanta, do you want to round us off?
Hello everybody, I'm Atlanta, I use she, her pronouns, freelance illustrator-y, comic-y type person over here. And I am playing Pipistrelle, a small bat with many problems that she makes.
A smat.
A smat. She is a bat who makes problems, but all the problems she made by herself, because that's just the kind of bat that she is. Today she causes problems on purpose. For herself, just herself.
We, today, all four of us are playing Adventures on a Dime, a role-playing system designed to tell exciting stories with simple rules. And I have something exciting to preview for y'all. It is the 2nd edition character sheet.
Yeah!
It's finally here-ish. It's not currently available on Roll20, but it is available because I have the special code and I have hacked into the mainframe. So y'all can see it. You can click through it. You can see that lovely Eve is panning through the different pages, which is real cool.
Oh, you can see me?
Yeah, I didn't know that would happen, but you can see it. You can see all of the rules for Adventures of a Dime are now available on the character sheet. There is an NPC sheet. If you have a trusty companion, or if I want to make NPC character sheets, I can have like special things. You can type in notes. You can even decide what like difficulty they are and how many strengths and weaknesses they have. The character sheets have a new training area where you can insert skills that you are learning using the new learning rules. It's just fancy and fun. You can now roll with advantage or disadvantage.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh wow, that's a great disadvantage roll. Both ones.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, wait, did I do that? Whoops.
Yeah.
Or did you do that for me?
No, you did that.
Oh, the plus and minus is the... I see. I thought that I'm adding a dice to the pool, or that I'm increasing the dice. I was not sure. I just kind of cleared.
Not quite. No. So you still increase or decrease the dice as normal using the little drop-down menu for your base and your current. But you can hit the die to get a single roll, or the plus for advantage, or negative for disadvantage. And it rolls 2 dice on the screen, which is sexy, and then it gives you the result that is what you want. So, for example, that was 2 7s. That's not a good example. But Pipistrelle rolled a cunning and rolled a 5 and a 6, and so it displays that you got a 6.
That's very cool.
I have a question, DM. I'm looking at my jobs and features. And I had these skills that I was learning and are already learned. They're not here, and I'm not sure now. I don't 100% remember what they were because they're deleted.
Oh, I don't know why that's not there. That's mysterious and possibly an issue of the code. This is why it's preview. You had Power Croak. I didn't know if it was learned or not.
Powercroak was not. I think.
But you also had righteousness.
Yes, righteous. I had a few there. I had like 4 or 5 or 4, I think.
I didn't know if they were written down as learned or not, so...
Well, they had numbers next to them. It was like 3 out of 3, or like 2 out of 3. But I don't know.
Only righteousness had a 3 out of 3 next to it. You had Paracroak, which didn't have anything next to it, but I know that you used it, so I'll put it down as basics.
Yes.
And then there was
I don't
a third,
see anything here in the training.
which is don't underestimate Toad.
Yes, that one was filled up.
Don't underestimate Toad. I love that.
Don't underestimate a Toad. Yeah.
It's a really good one.
So in theory, you should be able to see the text I have typed into the training box.
I don't have anything. It just says new skill, new skill, new skill.
Homophobia. We're still figuring it out. I can see things, but that's sad. You can type in righteousness, Powercroak, and don't underestimate a Toad for yourself for now.
I haven't even thought about new training stuff. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm behind, clearly.
Because I had more, but I don't remember what they were now.
You also had a trait and a flaw. I've duplicated this game, so we still have all of this information with the first edition character sheet, so do not worry. But yes, once you finish up Powercroak, you can combine that into a new skill, into a new job even.
Exciting.
I think your trait was cool under pressure, and your flaw was something sad.
Oh
sad.
No, something sad.
You're a sad boy.
Low-key anxiety.
No,
Anyhow.
not really. He's not anxious. But
Anywho, last session, we got up to some fun shenanigans. You survived a lightning storm.
Somehow.
And managed to save Hayden, a wicker weaver bat who had just moved away from Grinder's Nest. You hiked with Hayden in a little sling thing to Grinder's Nest and have just arrived at the entrance. As a reminder, Pipistrelle, you found a mysterious letter which you tucked away and haven't yet told the others about that mentioned the Hungerer. The Hungering, the hunger. And it was rather concerning. That was found in Hayden's burnt-down house. It was a little remnant of a half-written letter underneath the bookshelf. So that is roughly where we're at. So you are at the entrance of Grinder's Nest, and how are people feeling? What? Oh, hang on. No. Before we do that, we have to resolve the last scene that we're in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Flip.
Ooh.
The theme of the last scene, the fortune of which is in chat, and I will find it in half a second. Scroll. It is something. I think it was Bird with a Broken Wing.
Yeah.
And the theme was sloth and diligence. How do you guys feel that you handled the whole lightning storm situation?
Who wants to go first?
Axel is kind of like, I think, still a little frazzled after the whole thing. It was a little traumatic, and then they didn't do such a hot job in actually 100% saving this bat. Had to, pull it out. Well, I didn't have to, but I did pull it out in such a way that kind of injured it a little more than I think needed to be. So I'm telling myself it had to be done, and also it was like the heat of the moment. It was very like a last second frantic decision. Just had to get that bat out. So I'm kind of like patting myself on the back for a job well done, even though I know in my heart that was not a job well done.
I think.
How does Balthazar feel, or how does Pipistrelle feel?
Oh no, sorry. If you want to do Balthazar first, that's fine.
I mean, in terms of this, the card, I think that he was diligent. He, kind of leapt right into action. He was like creating the way to evacuate this thing. He came in and was just like, I'm gonna destroy this roof. Very quickly, like he was just kind of like, even though he was kind of behind, he was still taking every action he could to move forward. So the code words such as like facilitate, assist. I guess he didn't exactly evaluate. He was actually kind of doing he was just there in the moment. But I think he was very much like active in his role and diligent in undertaking the saving of this bat, who I'm now drawing in a baby Bjorn on his chest.
Perfect. I love it.
So cute. Oh my god. Oh,
Pipistrelle be jealous of this situation.
Oh, 100%. It's like, I want to be a baby Schmidt.
Baby Bjorn.
I want to be a baby.
I can imagine like Pipistrelle has been like, you had a baby Bjorn all along.
You didn't carry me?
It's
What kind of friend are
like,
you?
equipment.
They have like baby slings for occasionally when they find small creatures. Ah, don't worry, small creature. And plop! I will carry you to safety. Would you like a bottle?
Would a baby like a bottle?
Oh god. Getting wildly off track. That's so good. I think if I'm looking at the card, I feel like Pip might have also kind of been in virtue for this one, just because she was assisting Balthazar with like when she was like sitting on his back and like trying to find where the squeaking was coming from. There was a kind of exploring situation where they kind of all got accidentally caught up in the wind and like flew over to this chasm. And like, I also think like to, looking around and like sort of picking things up and trying to help the bat sort of back up, onto his feet and stuff, and things like that, I think would have been more in virtue than she would have been in like vice or neutral.
I do apologize having gone first. I did not entirely understand what we were meant to do with the card. So I think Soul is probably more in vice with like expedite and pause. Like there was the
hesitation.
The hesitation, the moment of fear, and then sort of without like properly evaluating or like checking out the situation, they just acted on what they thought would get the bat out of danger the quickest, even though it actually gave them put them in even more danger, essentially. So I'm going to say that Thistle was in vice.
Atlanta, kind of
yes.
With the vibes that you were going in, where do you think you're at?
I believe, I think I am leaning more towards virtue this time than vice, mostly because, I don't think Pipistrelle really paused or pondered or reflected on anything while she was like in that situation. I think it was very much like assisting, evaluating, exploring, and like pushing, I think, because she was the one be like, we need to find this bat, and but also I think she got a little bit distracted by the whole wind situation. Something to kind of think about as, I guess, as a bat character, is like the weather will affect how she moves. But yeah, so I think probably more more virtue this time.
And last but not least, Ver, how do you feel you handled the last adventure?
I'd say virtue. Balthazar at no point did have a reflection of like, wait, we have to think about the situation. He's just like, I'm already heading towards the problem. So there was none of that like reflection or waiting, pausing, consideration that would be associated with sloth. I think he was very much like proactive, almost like it could be in a reckless way, though in the situation the expeditious nature of undertaking like all of these kind of actions of very quickly just moving to assist and kind of even the fact that he would like just ran with Pipistrelle on his back and all of that, I think probably places him in the diligent aspect of work.
Okay. So this is Vice and Virtue, an additional storytelling module, basically. And in reaction to reflecting on each of the scenes, you guys get a boon that you can use. Thistle, you have an auto self. Once in this game, you can automatically succeed a check as if you rolled a 4. So long as you can define or word the action that you're taking in such a way that it's about your own self-resilience and your internal wants and drive. And Balthazar and Pipistrelle, you both have the ability to help someone else automatically succeed a check if you're able to explain how you would be able to help or support them in this role.
Nice.
And I guess for Eve's benefit, if I'm not mistaken, Brian, we can choose to auto-succeed after seeing the roll, but before its result is applied.
Yes.
And also, this expires until we have our next, like, reflection like this.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to draw another card, like, we can use this ability during the course of the next scene, but then when we evaluate again, whatever we had will be overwritten, if we have anything, will be overwritten with whatever the new kind of result is, whether it's going to be vice virtue or neutral.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, so I am going to deal to myself 3 new cards.
Get
I
ready.
don't know why I'm saying this because you're gonna steal every single one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't necessarily have a set of fortunes. So, do you guys want off-the-cuff vibes, or do you want to know each of the themes and choose a theme that you want to flavor the current part of the adventure?
Wait, so you mean you don't have like the kind of prophecy thing that's vague?
I don't
You're
have.
just gonna go like,
I don't
do you
have
want
fortunes
to
read. So do you want me to
Okay.
kind of set 3 different vibes as like demi fortunes, if that makes sense, the prophecy thing, or do you want to just know the themes and just pick a theme and be like, that's what we're going to be working on?
theme being straight up the card, such as
Yeah.
like work or
Mm-hmm.
okay. I don't know. I'm ambivalent. I heard Eve say theme.
Yeah, I think I'm with Eve. I think a theme would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So we have 3 themes to explore in this next part of our quest. I will flip them. That? No, I won't.
Ooh.
I took it.
You've done it. You've stolen
Okay,
it.
I put it here. I put it here though. I put it back.
So we have got the patience, desire, and motivation.
Ooh.
Patience is the dichotomy of wrath and forgiveness. Desire is the dichotomy of lust and restraint. And motivation is the dichotomy of humility and pride. Neither of these directions are good or bad. They are just different ways of looking at a situation. So, which of these 3 words, patience, desire, or motivation, do we want to flavor how we are going forward with the current challenges that I'll be thinking of as you explore Grinder's Nest?
I feel like we might be challenged on patience or motivation.
Yeah, I was thinking
Mhm.
Whatever
those.
we encounter. Wrath, forgiveness, pride, humility. Like, they kind of reflect each... Like,
Hmm.
these are not too far, like, removed in terms of the particular driving forces of a character.
I feel like motivation might be an interesting one because, like, you know, it could be very easy to take Hayden, sort of make sure he's, settled and safe and whatever, and then be like, okay, we're done now. But, like, I feel like something might motivate us to stay in the town and figure out what's going on, like figure out what this hungering is, I guess.
Well, the motivation, I think it's more so like because we are bound to like figure out what the hungering is, and I think it's going to be how we react to it. 'Cause, like,
yeah.
and
seeing a lot of like I think motivation will be really interesting, both in like how we react to whatever we find in Grinder's Nest, and also like how we react to each other in regards to what we each how we each react to it.
Humility and yes. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I'm voting for motivation.
Yeah, me too.
It's unanimous.
Bam.
Hell yeah.
Unanimous.
I shall delete these.
Patience.
Flipped. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that up there as a way of thinking about everything that you're doing as a more guided form of session.
To motivate us,
because we know
you
what the
might
theme
say.
is. To motivate us. You are... So this is what we're going to pick up the story. You are entering Grinder's Nest. You have like the wonderful, there's a little wooden sign or like an arch that's made out of some branches that have been bent and then sort of like one end, like both ends are dug into the soil, and there's lots of branches that have kind of been like soaked and bent, and then a sign is hanging from the bundle of them at the top, and it says "Welcome to Grinder's Nest," and it's kind of just hand painted. Actually, no, it's burnt like pyrography into the sign.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right. And generally, Pipistrelle, with your ears, you hear that there is like the sounds of far off work happening. You can hear the rustling of creatures in a few buildings. You can see, but you can hear that there are otters near the river. You can recognize their sort of their general babbling and work song, as you kind of met otter fishermen before.
Oh, that's nice.
And you're kind of not seen as you enter into the village right now. There's no one like there to greet you. It's kind of you're there in the middle of the morning, and people seem to be about their business.
Yeah.
Hayden right now is he was directing you into the village, but he's sort of fallen asleep again.
Oh. That's so
He seems to
sweet.
be very just exhausted with his broken wing and sort of just passing in and out. What do you guys want to do?
I think because I don't like Thistle did not intend. Sorry, I just saw that little angry Thistle. I think even though they didn't intend to come to Grinder's Nest, now that they're here, they're going to probably try to seek out the local stitchers or poultice pounders just to see if there's anything that they can gather from them.
Smart idea.
Did anyone else have goals that they wanted to achieve? Or a plan about, like, what are they, like a literal, like, I want to go do this?
I feel like for Pip, now that she's here, I think she might. I think she like if there's like a little market square or like maybe like little shops or something. I think she might go and ask. Maybe not show people the letter that she has, but just ask like, you know, what supplies have you got, and see if she can figure out. Maybe ask the locals like what this hungering is, and like see if she can find out some more information. I guess she's curious. She's, you know, one of her faults, I guess.
Okay, and Balthazar, do you... Oh my god, don't talk to me until I have morning coffee. Beautiful. And...
I mean, Thistle just feels... I'm sorry, but Thistle just kind of feels like that kind of person. No offense. This is meant to...
No, I'm into it.
Puny.
Fun fact,
Balthazar...
goosegrass, just about coffee, goosegrass, the stuff, the weed that sticks to you and is all like Velcro-y, its seeds can be ground up and brewed like coffee, and it has a similar taste to coffee, so...
Beast
Don't
coffee.
talk to me until I've had my goose juice.
Yeah, I mean, they
My
can also
goose
have hickory root. It's not like coffee in its, you know, energizing way, but it can also, like, a lot of decaf is made from hickory, if I'm not mistaken.
That's so cool.
But Balthazar, I think, he's going to stay with, Hayden was the name? Sorry, I just... With Baby Bjorn
Hayden.
over here. Well, because if he's, you know... Or actually, I guess... You can't walk around with him, but then it'll look kind of suspicious that he's just, like, lugging around like an unconscious bat. So I think he will, he'll say that because Hayden's asleep, he doesn't want to, like, because Hayden didn't indicate anything along the lines of, like, oh, like, we can go here to this person who might, I don't know, help us or anything, right? He just showed us how to get to the village, that's it. So I think Balthazar will just kind of sit down somewhere quiet, but where he can see people, and just tell Thistle and Pip that, when they're done with their business, let's meet up here. And he'll just wait with Hayden. So Hayden gets to rest a little bit, but isn't just there, vulnerable and unconscious.
Okay, so who do we want to follow first? I feel like, actually, we could start with Balthazar, or we could start with Thistle and Pipistrelle.
Wait, hang on a second. I had a clipboard. Hang on a second. Hold on, Grinder's Nest. Rumors of behemoth issues. Exchange services for information. Oh, okay, so, sorry, I just remembered that we were supposed to be here for a reason. I think Balthazar in that case will baby Bjorn, little Hayden, and is going to walk around with him like baby, and be like, I must ask about the rumors of behemoth issues. And in his
I have a
mind,
baby to trade.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think he's gonna look for some kind of actually communal place. Like a mess hall or something.
Okay. So again, same question. Are we going to follow Pipistrelle and Balthazar? Pipistrelle and Thistle, or Balthazar first?
The other two.
Fair
That's
enough.
what I say.
Decided.
I have decreed, I guess. Sorry.
Balthazar says.
So, where do you want to start exploring first? Do you want to... I'm going to say, like, the town is in 3 sort of, like, zones that I'm going to draw next to the sign here. You've got, like, the river, where there seems to be sort of, like, fishing going on. Mm-hmm. There's the central hub, that's where most of the buildings are. Mm. And then you've got the meadow, where it's more spread out, and that seems to be heading more into wilderness. There don't seem to be any specific walls. Like, there's like trodden paths, and the area here is cleared. But like, and there's like that little gate, so to speak, at the front. But like, there's no like specific defenses or walls.
I would like to go to the buildings. I imagine that is where I will find the building I'm looking for.
Okay. So you wander around these sort of like not open plan homes, but like there's no street system. There's sort of like someone built something and then some paths evolved around it from how they moved. Some of these buildings have small gardens where like tiny shoots of cultivated greens, like edible greens, have been like grown. Some of them are looking a little bit peaky. It's been cold. There's been not frosts yet, but we're getting close to it. And they're definitely the end of their lives. So that's like there's a bit of cabbage or a lettuce or something growing that's quite small, not like grown to a full, as we Titans would know it, like a romaine lettuce, if that makes sense. There's a house that is one of the oldest ones. It seems to be complete. It's like a dome, and it's just covered in ivy that's been cultivated and grown around it. And the ivy is going brown, and some of the leaves are kind of like scattering off as the ivy starts to die back for this year. I would like Thistle. I'd like you to just make a cunning roll as just a general. Who do you find? Sort of vibe. 5. Amazing. So that's a success. I'm going to say that you follow your ears. You look out for like the telltale signs of people, because you've grown up around like hospitals and stuff at Holdall, and there are specific kinds of sounds that sound to you like people doing not medicine but preparatory work. There's the ripping of cloth to make bandages. There's grinding of specific herbs into antiseptics. There's a bit of a smell as well of certain things, and that leads you towards a smaller hut that's closer to the river, that doesn't have a door. It seems to be more of a bare shack, and inside you poke your head in and you see a weasel is tearing strips of cloth into long strips, and is like tearing a strip and then putting it into a cauldron that's near one of the windows and is bubbling away to boil them, and kind of tears another one, puts it in, and seems just to be very absorbed in the work.
I like sort of knock on the just like a frame entrance or something. Like, just I knock on whatever. I knock on the wall. I'm like, hiya, you alright?
Oh, hello. Yes. Are you all right? Everything fine? And they look up from the cauldron, and there's they've got some spectacles on, and they're covered in fog and condensation, and they sort of take them off and kind of blearily blink around and just rub them on their fur, and then put them back on, and they go, "Oh, I don't think I've met you before. Who are you? I'm Aaron."
I'm Thistle Stitcher Holdall. I'm actually here looking for your head stitcher, please.
And the weasel the eyes widen a little bit when you say Stitcher from Holdall, and then the weasel sort of looks around, and I don't know if animals would curtsy, but he does a sort of awkward curtsy bow.
Oh my god, that's going straight to Thistle's head.
Yeah, sort of hello, Stitcher Thistle. I guess that would be me. We don't have a Stitcher here. When people get cuts or they knock their heads, they just come to me. Hi. How can I help? Is everything all right? And it sort of goes over towards the light and sort of is squinting at you through their kind of thick glasses. You notice that their fur has bits of red and green stain from berries or herbs they've been grinding up. They have a lick of hair sticking out in a weird angle somewhere.
Oh, I love Aaron. When they say, and when Aaron says that they're not technically a Stitcher, Thistle's demeanor does kind of okay, they're not as interested in in this person anymore. Say, oh, all right. So not officially a Stitcher. They point at the little crest. You're not part of the guild.
Aaron vigorously shakes the head. Oh, no. I wouldn't want to pass myself off as a guild member. Just to help out. Are you looking for new recruits? And Aaron gets visibly excited. Starts to pat their fur down, and notices the sticky out bit of fur, and sort of smooths it down, and there's a bang as another bit sticks up somewhere else on their back they can't see.
Oh god. No, not looking for new recruits. I'm looking for information. Thistle sort of waggles their lizard eyebrows as best as they can.
They don't have it.
Your eyes sort of bulge at this weasel.
Thistle does what in lizard culture is waggling eyebrows, but it's just kind of staring at Aaron.
Slightly unnervingly.
Looking for,
I'm going to say, as a lizard, I don't know, I think you stand a little bit over Aaron. Aaron is a weasel, and weasels are very small.
No.
Weasels are minuscule, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they're bigger than lizards.
Well, it depends, because Thistle is a sand lizard, yeah?
Yeah.
So, if I... Let's see how... Because they're really not very big, but I think even sand lizards are like, depending, like if you're going sort of nose to tail, I think, what are they? It's like,
You might be
yeah,
longer,
about 20 centimeters in length, and a weasel. I can't spell. Oops. I mean, a weasel. Actually, no. That's yeah.
It needs some
Weasel,
sort of,
weasel.
like line up with all the animals.
I think
Yeah.
like if we're talking like nose to tail, weasels would be a little bit smaller. Because like weasels are minuscule. They're
Really
slightly
tiny.
like they're slightly bigger than like they're bigger than mice, but like not by much. Because like that will
Really?
yeah. Because like people get confused in the UK because we have a bunch of these little sort of mustelids. We have weasel stoats. There are polecats, which are like ferrets, and then you have pine
Ferrets.
martens. Yeah, like they're just ferrets, and then you have like pine martens, which are like fox size. But you're talking anywhere between like 10 centimeters to like the size of a fox for these sort of species of animal.
Mhm.
And like weasels are the smallest of those. People
Right.
confuse them with stoats a lot. But yeah,
So
they
I'm not
actually
saying you're towering. This isn't like a Balthazar to Pip situation, but I do believe
No, this-
that like you're standing a little bit taller, and you're also in the shadow of the door, or like you're casting a
Yeah.
shadow,
yeah.
and you're staring at this weasel, and Aaron's just like, can I help?
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
This one would be bigger than this little weasel.
That's so
So Aaron says,
Yeah, so I-
information?
I'm
How?
looking for
Yes?
for any sort of records, any sort of almanacs, encyclopedias, guide books of any kind, anything you've got written about the medicinal field.
The weasel immediately spins round, goes into the room towards, there's like maybe a table at one end of this sort of like shed. There's a small desk with like some pots and things on it. A desk is the wrong word. It's more like a small, like, short table. There's a large table in the center of the room, which, as you walk past it and you look at it, you realize has some dark brown colorations on it, and seems to have been scrubbed in different places. It feels like a very practical table. And there's a smaller table at the side that has, like, pots and pans underneath it, and on top of it there's, like, a pestle and mortar. And the weasel goes over, hands out, looks at the table, and then sort of very slowly turns back round and says, well, I don't write very well, or at all. Maybe I can tell you what you want to know?
Thistle sighs. No, don't worry about it. Just leaves.
Wow.
Such a dick. Sorry.
And Aaron just sort of trails you to the door, and as you're kind of walking away, says, come back if you need anything.
Oh.
Um,
my God.
From someone who isn't a Stitcher, I don't think so.
Ooh.
They don't say that. They don't say that. That's
Oh.
inner monologue.
This'll's internal monologue.
I think at this time, Pipistrelle, did you follow Thistle, or did you kind of like investigate your own way around the buildings? You're sort of just in the general same area.
I like to imagine that Thistle kind of went off with like purpose and probably didn't turn around and be like, I'm gonna go see if I can find a Stitcher or whatever. So
Yeah.
like they just kind of wandered away from her. So she's like, oh, okay. So I think she probably would have ended up I think she would have taken a minute just to take in the surroundings, like maybe like look at the state of the buildings and maybe have a look at the gardens and stuff that people have, just to see, like, you know, I think she's like, that phrase, like, you know, this hungering is kind of like, it's kind of sticking with her a little bit. So I think she might just be looking around to see if there's anybody like outside of their houses right now, like maybe doing some gardening or doing laundry or something, that she might just be able to ask, like, you know, what's going on here, kind of thing.
You're looking around, and you kind of you're in the buildings area, and you drift more towards the sound of that sort of work and industry, and you kind of, you see there's sort of someone's got their door open and their windows open, so lots of lights coming in. And they're kind of weaving baskets. You can see that they've got a pile of willow trimmings next to them in a trough that's soaking them, and they are manipulating and weaving them in. I'm going to say this is a shrew, and they're making a very small basket.
Oh my god, that's precious. Actually, shrews kind of around Pipistrelle size, so
yeah. And she is making just small, like, they are baskets even small for shrews, and they seem to be quite wide and shallow. Not bowls, because liquid would just blit out of them, but like they seem to be for she's making a lot of them. She makes like a little start of like a small bowl, and then kind of like rounds it off, and then sort of just puts it to one side. And you watch her kind of make one bowl, just sort of like watching her through a window, and she sort of seems to be doing it, and sort of looks up, and there's a double take, and goes, oh, hello. Hi.
I
and
think
sort of kind of cocks her head.
Oh, I think Pip sort of she's very nosy, so she's like, she probably didn't even realize that she was being a bit weird and just staring in at this poor shrew's like workspace. She's like, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. What are you making?
And she kind of pauses and sort of looks down and goes, "What am I? Oh, these are our for the trappers. I make the little bowls, and then they use these as starts for their own larger fish traps." And she sort of like is miming with her claws, sort of like a vase shape with like the bowl in one at the end of the trap, and then as if it's the base of the vase, and then sort of like is miming with her claws a vase shape from there. And then
okay.
She sort of like rustles herself up and kind of comes over to the door with one in her hand, and she says, hi. Who are you? How are you doing today?
Oh, I think sort of Pip sort of like, she does like the Ghibli hair poof. Like she's like, oh, that's so nice. She's like, oh, I'm Pipistrelle. I'm just passing through today. We were helping a bat who'd come from here. I don't know if you've maybe met him before. It's called Hayden.
And she kind of perks up a little bit and says, when you see her passing through, she kind of goes, huh. And then when you say Hayden, she goes, Hayden? He only left a week ago. Is he all right?
I think Pip would then sort of go on to explain like the storm and like finding Hayden, and sort of regale this shrew, briefly just about like, we found him and he was in trouble, and he's injured, so we had to bring him back somewhere safe. And she sort of finishes. I think at this point,
the regaling of the tale takes maybe like 5-10 minutes. You sort of, well, there was a storm, and there was a fire, and then the willow tree fell over. And I feel like as you're a bit of a natural storyteller, you kind of fall into it as well. And in this time, she sort of like guided you in, and now you're sat on a cushion, and you have like a little clay mug of tea.
Oh, cute! Oh, I love that.
It's nettle tea, so it's sort of like very refreshing. Just a green
it's actually quite tasty,
flavor.
Yeah. Green flavor.
It's a green flavor. I think in typical Pipistrelle fashion, she would not have even she barely would have paused to say thank you for the tea. It would have been like blah 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 story blah blah. Oh, thank you blah 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 blah.
Thanks. Anyway, as I was saying, lightning struck and everyone was dying.
Yeah, exactly. Like she when she gets into it, she really gets into it. But I think when she kind of finishes, she'll kind of finish off the story, sort of like holding the tea in her little bat fingers and just saying, well, we couldn't. So we brought him back here. We couldn't just leave him. But he was sort of quite adamant that we not bring him back here. It was all very strange. We thought, why would he not want to go back to where he'd just come from? And I think she then she would pause there and sort of see maybe what the shrew might say. What is the shrew's name actually? I feel like
I feel like all of this comes out in a
Name.
flow of like, oh, well, he said he didn't want to come back here. Also, what's your name?
Yeah, I think that's yeah.
And the shrew who's been listening rather aptly, she sort of goes, oh, I'm Kiva. Yes. And she's sort of like a little bashful. She says, well, Hayden, bashful's the word, gossipy is a better word. She's like, oh,
Okay.
Hayden, a little bit of a, I don't know, a shirker. He didn't really get on. We have to make these traps because fish go in and they get broke, and the traps get broken sometimes and they thrash around, and especially when the salmon come, we have to make really big traps, and that takes a lot of work. And he didn't really get on well with just making traps. I don't know, he wanted to make other things. Between you and me, I don't think sculptures are very useful. They're very pretty, and that's something you make in the summer, but we're nearly midway to winter right now, and, well, we need to deal with things. We need to work. And he wasn't really suited for that. So, he said that he wanted to do his own thing. Had his little hut. So, well, I wished him well, but it's a shame that's all happened. And he's broken his wing as well. She sort of trails off there.
I think Pip would say, is like, when you say sort of not useful, what do you mean? What were these sculptures that he was making?
Oh, well, he made, she sort of pauses. I don't know what the word is. It's big, it's behemoth. He didn't make a behemoth, don't worry. But it's, horse. He made a horse out in the meadows, a couple summers ago. Big project. Worked on it all day and night. Sister was out there getting all the food for him and everything. And then, what does he do with it? He just sort of leaves it there. It's just a horse. Never seen such a thing before. Apparently he saw it when he was out flying when he was younger. But, yeah. It's a lovely, lovely thing to look at, but, I mean, it doesn't put food on the table.
God. So, sort of slightly out of character, Brian, question. Are there these kinds of, like, so-called useless things in Odok that Pip may have come across before, like beasts who make things just for the pleasure of making them, as opposed to things that are actually useful?
It's like art, just fucking
basically,
useless.
Useless
Purely
art.
art.
Purely art.
Fucking useless. Nobody needs that shit.
I think that's the message of Beast Fables. Art is useless.
Yeah.
Said for artists.
Art is useless, and you should be doing something useful with your time and life. Idiot.
So, I would say in Odok, to some degree, yes. There are people who do make art. They tend to be... it's to make spaces nicer. It's art in a more functional way, so architecture, painting, murals. A lot of the art does have like a functional aspect to it. So tapestries are like put on cold walls if there's stonework or something like that to help retain heat, but also they're beautiful. I mean, to some degree, your parents have a semi-useless business. Like, they make nice clothing. They make flight suits, and you've got your flight suit, but also they make shawls and little thin veil things, and...
I think even Pipistrelle kind of thinking about that, like, non-useful aspect. Like, she's looking at her flight suit, which she has modified. You know, she put on, like, the patches on her knees, which do serve a purpose, because obviously she walks like a little T-Rex, so she'll wear out the knees very quickly. But also, she sewed on, like, stars and moons to them because she wanted to. Like, a completely useless endeavor, but it just made her happy. So I think she's kind of like... She's kind of almost at odds, I think, with this shrew. She's like, she 100% is like, yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from, but also sounds interesting. The horse sounds fun.
I think she kind of notices you sort of look down, and sort of look, kind of like finger your flight suit a little bit. She goes, "Oh, dear, don't worry. I don't mean your lovely bits of embroidery there. That's very nice. And to be honest, I don't know how long bats grow for. I don't want to ask how old you are, but." That'll fetch a nice, good trade if you want to, pass that on, or if you've got a family member, a little sister or something you want to pass that to, then that would be perfect. But he just made a horse. And then sort of just shrugs.
I think she kind of asked, like, did you ever ask him why he made the horse?
Make a willpower roll for me.
Ooh, she is being.
This is-
She's trying to be friendly right now.
You're being friendly, and this is gonna, and I'm taking that into consideration. This isn't like you get a hijinks and she's like, "Get out of my house, slut."
Can I?
Wait, slut?
I know. I'm just like a slur, you know.
Yeah.
Vermin.
Oh my god!
I like slut better. It's just like get out of my house, you star-spangled slut.
I mean, like, I feel like slut actually would be kind of hilarious because that used to be a word just to mean like dirty. Like literally just like you're a filthy thing. Get out of my house, you slut.
Filth.
Anyway,
Muddy.
sorry. Moving on. Can I tag my good judge of character? Because like she's having a very friendly conversation with this shrew. She doesn't want it to turn unfriendly.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Thank you very much. Use the new fancy thing. There we go.
Roll, clicky clacks, critical success.
Yeah.
You do as well as you can. The narrative describes how successful you are. Interesting. That rolled, and you know how to phrase this in such a way that it's not going to be like oh, and why do you ask him? Like, this isn't a challenge, even though in theory this could be a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a different tack of conversation. It's not just like placidly letting it go along.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh. I think you rephrased it a little bit to be like, oh, why do you think he built it? Like, did he ever like talk about it in a way that isn't confrontational to like what is clearly her worldview?
Yeah, of course. She's genuinely just curious as to why this shrew, why the shrew like thinks this is useless, but it's nice to put it like it's nice to look at, but what's the point of it, kind of thing. Like she's curious.
And so the shrew kind of thinks for a moment and says, to be honest, I don't think I ever did ask about that. I was a bit too busy at the time. You know, the summer just flew me by. I was rushed off my feet with going out, and you know, there was all these berries to harvest. She sort of like nods her head back, and you see that she's got like a cupboard full of jam jars.
Delicious.
And then she sort of like, and then there was the festival to prep for, and we had a big order from Summit for some baskets, and I was busy with that. And then no, I don't think I ever did. I think it just was like an itch. But you know, it's fine to itch sometimes. Everyone can have a little itch, but it was like he just kept scratching until the fur fell off, you know?
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. I think she would kind of pause for a minute, like drink some of her nettle tea, and then ask, you know, again, like this is just a curious question. Well, how did looking at that horse make you feel? I suppose.
This is rolling off of the last critical success. The continued like pleasant atmosphere. She sort of just gives a very nonchalant like, it was a bit strange. It's big. I've never seen legs that big before. And she sort of like sticks out her shrew feet, and she goes, I didn't know that horses didn't have toes. That's weird.
Oh, that's so cute. And she
goes, but to be honest,
sorry.
I mean, it did make me feel a bit funny, and this isn't very good of me, but it blew over halfway through he was making it. Fell right over. Now, it wasn't very big, and she sort of gestures and says, it's about maybe as tall as this house.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty funny.
Oh my god. I think Pip kind of like sort of giggle at that a little bit, but yeah, I think she's sort of thinking over what the shrew is saying a little bit. Sorry, I've completely forgotten her name. I'm so bad with names.
Kiva,
yeah. And like, I think she'd say something like, well, you know, I suppose where I'm from, we don't necessarily have things like this horse. But there is, you know, it sounds like it was quite a beautiful thing to look at, even if it did fall over. And she sort of giggles. But I suppose maybe you were not alone in thinking this way about Hayden and, you know, what he was doing, what he was making.
well, his sister didn't really. She was very polite about it. They grew up here, They their mum is here as well, and He sort of pauses, and because of your good judge of character, I feel like you sense that she kind of pauses, but it's not a natural pause. It's like she doesn't continue what she's saying. She's holding something back.
Oh, okay.
And then she's kind of staring at her tea, and she goes, "Oh goodness." And she looks and goes, "Where is Hayden?"
Oh, she'll file that one away for the time being. She doesn't want to keep that from her, but she'll say, "Oh, my friend is looking after him at the moment. He's okay. He's just very tired, and he has this broken wing, and it was a very big night for him. But I think Pip kind of feels like the shrew's kind of getting ready to maybe get back to work and things, or get on with her day. But I think she would just sort of, before she leaves, I think she'd like to ask, it's like, if there's one more thing I could trouble you for, maybe just a little bit of information.
You can ask me on the way. Why don't we go see Hayden?
Yes, yes, of course.
I just realised we've just been having tea. We just left him in the middle of a road with a broken wing. Oh my goodness! And you do feel that she has a bit of genuine concern of oh
yeah. No. And Pip sort of, she finishes off her tea, puts her cup back on the counter, and says, "Yes, of course, I'll take you to him now."
Mm-hmm. As you're walking over, what do you ask?
I think as they're walking, I think she'd like to ask. I've heard she's gonna lie a little bit. She's gonna say, I've heard rumors of some sort of hungering or the like around this area. Do you know anything about such a thing?
And she says, "Oh, it's I don't like to talk about that. I just like to keep my head down. But anyway." And she starts to explain as you walk over to Hayden and Balthazar, who the camera now pans to.
Yep. I did decide that if Hayden's asleep, I did decide that he would just stay with Hayden and kind of he's just doing the thing of organizing his tools, seeing how many provisions he has, kind of getting ready to maybe see about figuring out, okay, well, Summit is this far away and we'll need this much food, if he's able to wrap his 4 cunning around such a task. Just kind of
so I feel like
he's just kind of waiting
it's
with
not
Hayden.
The cunning. The cunning wouldn't be restricting you here. Cunning is about senses. It's about plotting and creating, reacting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's about it's fast and it's wit. Vigor is about routine, and I feel like with your taking care of equipment, this is something that is routine and very expected. The finding of information, the planning your route, the thinking about that. That's all in your wheelhouse, or your toad house, your toad log.
My toad house, my wheel log. So he's just kind of he kind of set up Hayden in a comfortable spot, and is letting Hayden rest. Well, somewhere not on the outskirts of town, but somewhere where it just kind of looks like Hayden's taking a nap. Just it's just 2 bros hanging out, whatever. And he's just kind of looking at his equipment, and it's just, I think he's just kind of also taking a quiet moment to think to himself. And just kind of, take a moment, take a knee. So he's not really doing much. Unless Hayden, oh, thank you, very important. Unless Hayden, wakes up, in which case he would probably like to talk with him, but just because that's someone to talk with. But otherwise, he's just kind of doing his own thing.
So
he doesn't just want to leave Hayden alone, and someone has to look after him.
You're that, and you're kind of keeping an eye on him and sort of prepping. So I'm going to count this as a breather. So what little task are you doing for this breather? A breather is where you get to raise one and die one step. You're sort of recuperating yourself. And I feel like this is you organizing and getting more control over your situation right now. So what aspect of that is calming or reinforcing for Balthazar after like the tumult of the last like few days?
Yeah. I think I think he does kind of like laying out all the tools and then repacking them and kind of having everything like where he knows where it is and kind of tightly packed so it's easier to carry. There's something about organizing the space around him that helps him with organizing like his kind of sense like or gaining a kind of sense of control. Like I know I have this where if I'm in a messy room, I feel like my thoughts are messy, like I just don't feel very good. And actually I also remember that way back in campaign 1 we happened on the situation where I think this was like Mushroot. We walked into like this derelict kind of like house that was completely like messed up, and Balthazar just started walking around and like putting stuff away. I think that's just
God, I do remember that.
And I think that might be like also part of like this kind of squire just toad knight kind of thing where they are just kind of like things are messy or unorganized, like let's just clean up, let's make this a nice place. And I think there's a part of that that habit comes from like organize your environment or like gain control of your environment, and you kind of gain control a little bit of yourself, your thoughts, you feel a little better. And I think there's something about that, like you can't just go around cleaning the goddamn town. So yeah, something about organizing his pack. There's like a very toad thing in doing all this, and that's kind of where that breather comes for him from, simply just regaining control of what he can around him.
So I feel like you grabbed in a sort of a haze just whatever supplies were left at the Toad base camp on the opposite shore of the Isle of Shalott. So if you want to, you can add a reasonable tool and a reasonable carried item to your inventory, whatever you feel suits. And you can do that now, you can do that, some point later in the session. I feel like as part of your organizing, you're like, oh, I have more than I thought I did.
Let's see, because I have my carried items are both newspapers and pencils. I'd like to have a think, because I'd like something...
have a think.
Or I don't... Yeah.
It's just a nice little extra as well, and you get to, if you haven't already, raise one of your die up a step towards space.
Yes, I have raised my vigor by D8. So because I think also just this moment of rest, like because I've been lowering his vigor as like a literal expression of his physical strength. So I think this is just also like a nice moment of just rest for his body. And mind, and every now and then he glances up at Hayden, and if maybe Hayden makes like a kind of noise, he just kind of like smiles because bats are cute. Just.
As at this point that you hear sort of, you look around and you see, you're kind of on the outskirts, and so you see a large trap, the one I described. It's kind of like a vase. I'm going to draw it just quickly. It's made out of sort of like woven wicker. It's a sort of vase shape, and you can see that it's got like a concentrated opening here, because it's all just like made out of like bits of wicker, but it's sort of like a one-way entrance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
With lots of concentrated reeds at the neck, and you can see it just sort of like moving itself, like little by little along the road, and you sort of see it stop, and then a bat crawl onto the top of it and just sort of like sit and like catch their breath and just sort of and sort of like look up at the sky and go, oh god, just sort of like that, sort of exhausted. And then sort of like look up and towards the river. I'm gonna say like you're near the entrance, little X where you are, so you're near like the gate that I kind of like scribbled on. near the buildings, so this middle. You see them dragging it round towards the river through the clearer spaces, and sort of like look around and look how close they are to the river, and then look at you and kind of go, kind of cock the head, and then peer a little bit further, see Hayden, and then immediately the bat takes up wing and starts to flap over really quickly.
Well, Balthazar is not threatened by this. I think, like, oh yeah, bats, because he saw how excited Pipistrelle was kind of like, hello, fellow bat. He's just like, like, if he saw another toad, he'd also be just cheesing. So he's just like, because the bat is going to say hello to the bat. And I think just as, like, this bat is coming closer, he's just like, good day! And I just imagine that the bat completely ignores him. But he just kind of lets this happen.
The bat sort of, like, flies, and you say, good day, and then he sort of lands in sort of like a little skid into the dirt, and sort of then lands into T-Rexes, and then kind of then turns as you say good day, and goes, hello,
please
and she's sort of
watch out.
turning back and forth.
He's like, I imagine you. I don't know if you want to say hello or what, but Hayden is currently asleep and would do well with some rest. Do you know him? He's from here.
She sort of takes a breath, looks at Hayden, absorbs the information, absorbs the broken wing, the lying down, the few possessions in a sack, looks at you, and says, I don't know what's happened, but thank you for bringing Hayden back. Hi. Yes, I do know him, unfortunately. I'm Cirrus.
He
Cirrus
seems
Holly.
to be a very, very lovely individual. Hello, Cirrus Holly. It's nice to meet you. I'm Balthazar of Blueberry Pond. And
she sort of sticks out a bat claw wing to sort of shake.
Yeah, he shakes the bat claw wing. It like probably like wiggling Cirrus's entire hand because his handshakes are very enthusiastic. And he says, this poor fellow, well, you very likely experienced the storm that rolled over the other night. Well, we were out on the road when lightning struck a nearby tree, and turns out that tree was where poor Hayden has been making his home. And struck out of the tree and bereft of most of his possessions. We collected what we could, and as well as Hayden himself, and are making a stop here at Grinder's Nest before we continue on to Summit.
And she sort of nods and she says, that idiot, he would get struck by lightning out of a tree. Yes, I heard the storm roll through, and we did get our fair share of rain and wind, but luckily no one was hurt here. Oh gosh, I'm Cirrus, and I'm his brother. He left recently. I don't know if he's told you, but he left and he set up his little hut, and he wanted to go and, leave Grinder's Nest and do his own thing, and that's fine, and I'm happy, but what an idiot. What an idiot. I love him. Thank you for bringing him back. Can I, if you wouldn't mind helping just a little, could you help move him into my my house, and I can get you some tea or some breakfast. Have you eaten?
Have I eaten?
I
feel like Balthazar, like he's like a hobbit where it's just like, it's breakfast time, it's second breakfast time, like always at the same hour.
It's
like,
always breakfast.
He knows.
It's never not breakfast time.
He always knows what hour of the day it is based off of what meal he's having, and he has it at the exact intervals of time each time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he says, actually he'll say, well, I have already eaten, but I would never say no to a snack. And he'll kind of look around and say, and yeah, he'll go to pick up Holden, and he'll say, sorry, Hayden. He'll say, Hayden did not mention that he has any family here. The way he spoke was as if he had struck out on his own from the town, and had very little to come back to. I suppose I'm glad that he has someone such as yourself who... God, I'm sorry if you hear snoring. My dog's...
It's not your dog. It's Hayden. It's Hayden.
Oh yeah.
Hayden.
Yeah, because I don't know if you can hear it.
I did actually hear it.
I did hear that one, yeah.
Jesus Christ. She's on the other side of the room. This is horrible.
So it's just it's natural Foley work. It's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy.
But yeah, he just says, I wasn't aware that he has family here, but I imagine he will be very happy to see you. He's going to pick up Hayden like a sack of potatoes. No, he does it gently. Sorry.
I feel like she kind of goes to like one end of the stretcher. The kitty. I don't know what the word is. I know there is a word for it, but like whatever it is that he's.
Cyrus a brother or a sister? Because they introduced themselves as brother.
I meant sorry. I'm just getting confused with my words.
She.
So she.
So she's a sister. Or is she a
yes,
brother?
I think I meant to say that he's my brother, but I probably
okay.
Yeah. Cirrus, she, her, is sister to Hayden, he, him. I just struggle with words, which is great for a writer.
Don't we all?
Art is useless. Woohoo! Anyway.
Yeah.
She goes over and I think she like goes to like pick up like his legs or that end of like whatever he's been carried in and goes, right, you get the shoulders, and you sort of like pick Hayden up and she goes, oh, okay then, follow me.
Yeah.
And she T-Rexes over to her hut.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love that that's become the way to describe the way bats walk sometimes is T-Rexing. That makes me really happy.
It's really good. Yeah. Balthazar
T-Rexes over.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, because Balthazar, I think if he stayed in one place, he'd know that that's where Pip or Thistle would be looking for him. So he's going to take out one of his papers. Stop himself from creating a beautiful, lavish we're over there with a arrow. And actually, no, sorry. He can just write.
I would like to make it canon.
Yeah.
That because this isn't your papers. This is Commander Bethany's papers. She has prepared a letter with a letterhead, a drop cap for each letter of the alphabet.
Letter of the alphabet.
For this kind of situation.
Yeah, all toads do this.
Like,
I will
this
say next time he has downtime, he's doing that.
Yeah, like, this is what you do when you've not got time, is because, of course, you need to write a letter, but you can't compromise your calligraphic standards.
No, you can't. Yeah, so he uses the W card. I'll mark that off. I'll just mark W.
The W card is gone.
The W, yeah. For we are over there, and on the ground he will draw, like, because, you know, he can, like, the plane is easier. To draw the arrow towards where the hut is. And
leave it half tucked under a rock.
Yes, there we go. So it's safe. And
I would love it if you put it on the ground. This is we're over there and it blows away. And then someone else comes across and goes, huh, and they just walk off in a random direction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he his vigor, his diligence allows him to think of tucking it under a rock. And he'll join Cyrus.
So you follow Cirrus back to her hut. And you go in, and it's sort of like a 1.5 height hut, which is divided into 2 sort of floors. It's not like it's a 2-floor house with a staircase. It's just sort of like a half level.
I get it. Yeah, like you would have like I get it.
Yeah. And there's sort of like a little stove underneath the floor here, and there's like chests with like food in and cupboards, and it's very homely. And there's like sleeping quarters above on the second half floor above the stove, so that, like, all the heat is retained in like a really central area.
I think as Balthazar kind of enters and sees this, he's just like, "My goodness, your abode is so very cozy. I can't imagine why Hayden would not want to spend the winter here."
Oh, well, Hayden always, and she kind of gives him a pointed look, Hayden always was a little different, and he always had ideas. He always had his head in the clouds, and you see where that got him. Mum loved what he did, and sorry.
So that was so funny.
It was very funny.
Sorry, Balthazar just... I don't know. Sorry, Brian, because you were talking. I don't know if you heard what Balthazar said, but he just muttered to himself that Hayden must fly very high up if his head is in the clouds.
Yeah. And she continues like, Mum always loved his eccentricities. But... I don't know. You can put him on the bed over there, and she kind of points to an empty made bed that's next to a more messy lived-in bed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Balthazar gently puts baby down. And... Because did Hayden... He never told us that he's like a... Did he tell us he's a sculptor? Because I think he just kind of had like these... tools, but I don't know if we ever knew what they're for.
No, he didn't.
Weaver, I think.
He did tell us that he was a wicker weaver, and he has these tools to weave with.
Okay.
And he talked about how he was going to make it on his own, and how he was gonna. He didn't want to live in Grinder's Nest because of the hunger ring.
Yeah. So,
and or he didn't want to pay the tithe, is how he described it, and in his letter it was named the hunger ring.
Yeah. Because I don't remember how much he said and how much was the letter in terms of. The mystery. But I think so because it was the wicker weaving. Yeah, okay. Because I was just like, I didn't remember if he's a sculptor or not. But Balthazar I think kind of listens to what she says and he says, I don't know if I would describe wicker weaving as particularly eccentric, unless he was making open vases that are open on both sides or something. I feel it's a very useful and wonderful profession.
Well, it's quite a practical one, and we have a lot of work here at Grinder's Nest with the otters and the fishing. He likes to do things that aren't so functional with his work, and she sort of goes over to a window and kind of points out of it, and you duck your head and you see, and there is a creature you have not ever imagined before. It looks like a boar on stilts that's been stretched.
Yeah. The only behemoth he has reference for is a boar, so everything's some manner of boar. Yeah, stretched boars. My God, that's the strangest boar I've ever seen.
And for the humans in the audience, it does not look like a horse. It is like if someone described a horse to you, like those medieval drawings.
Yeah,
where
just
like it's incredible and it's evocative and strange and mysterious. And then someone tells you, "Oh, that's meant to be a cow," and they go, "Huh? How did they get that?" Or an alligator, or like a dodo. And you're like, "How did they?" Clearly, this is a rumor someone's heard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, so she points to this, and is it on its side? Because someone said
so.
that.
No, it's rooted in the ground. It did in the tale that the Kiva said. It fell over when it was being built, but no, it's rooted into the ground, and some grass has grown up into it. It's sort of a semi-hollow structure. It's more about the spirit of what Hayden thought a horse was, rather than a depiction of a horse.
Yeah.
So it's very artistic in its interpretation.
Yeah.
And you can see that some of the bits of woven wicker are starting to come undone and have kind of like fallen apart. Some leaves are stuck in it. Yeah.
I think he looks at it, and here's the thing with toads. toads are great patrons of art. They love art. They love beautiful things. So he sees it. He's just like, "What is that?"
Oh, I'm sorry. His creations aren't really for everyone, so yeah.
It's amazing.
A lot of people
I've never seen anything like it. It looks like a stretched boar, but it does not have the menace of the boar. It has a strange beauty to it. It makes me think of freedom and prairies. I don't know why.
I think he called it a haressa. A horse? I've never met one. But
Horus.
And she kind of looks you up and down, and you're kind of staring at it. I was gonna say bug-eyed, but I guess it'd be toad-eyed. Your thistle eye-bulging.
Yeah. No, see, I think that his pupils have dilated to be like a cat, or almost like black. His entire eyes.
The slots
just
have
looking
opened.
at it. Yeah, his third eye is open.
She sort of, she kind of chuckles a bit and says, my mum used to look at his things like that. Where are you from?
Oh, excuse me. I am from. Was it? Well, no, he did introduce himself.
Yeah.
I'm
She's sort of like, where's Blueberry Pond? I think is a better question.
Yeah. He says, much far north from here. It is a settlement not very far from Lake Katrine. If you are perhaps familiar with that.
She's nodding and she goes, never heard of it.
Right! Wait, do I have a map? No, Pipistrelle has a map.
Yeah.
He says, but he knew how many days of travel it would be.
Like,
so how many?
At least 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
Okay, yeah. He'll say, well, it is a destination of 2 weeks of travel north. From here, I found myself quite far south, in pursuit of certain information.
She kind of like nods and it's just like, wow, you're far from home. Are you planning to stay? What are you doing here? Aside from bringing Hayden back, thank you very much for that. Are you far out of the way of your journey?
It's not just me. See, I have companions that I travel with, and we are looking to make our way to Summit. However, in some of our pursuits of certain information, we're thinking of dropping by Grinder's Nest, as there have been rumors of some manner of behemoth issues. I'm not entirely certain if this
She doesn't. Her hair rises a little bit. She kind of it's a slightly defensive feel, and she sort of So that's I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons she doesn't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
From the beginning.
Well, if you're ever going back to Blueberry Pond, it would be nice if maybe you could take Hayden with you. If people look at art, if people look at the things that he makes the way that you look at them, he might do better there.
I know. Cyrus. I know that every knight in Blueberry Pond would want one of those. Points at the horse.
The air quotes horse.
Yeah. I cannot explain to you the things I feel when I look upon it. But they're euphoric.
And she's sort of like nodding and goes, That's great. That is good. Well, I'm kind of glad that storm rolled through. He was going to go live out on the edge of town and just make more of these. And then
Well, I don't want to hear. Did it fall on somebody? Was somebody unhappy with having such a sight to behold, to take in, to wonder about, to ponder, to just...
Honestly, no one really looks at the horse the way that you do. They teased him about it. And the other weavers, the other wicker weavers, they said that it wasn't a good use of time. And it's hard to argue with them when I'm trying to feed two mouths.
Yourself and Hayden, you mean?
Yes. And this is why I was worried. He left home, and I gave him everything I could, and then I knew that he'd lost the winter, but then come spring, he'd probably be making more of these sculptures, and then what'd he do next winter? Would he come home and I'd have to feed him again? And he wouldn't even be around to help with some of the work? Oh, I was worried. But if you could take him somewhere where he could make these and people would, support him, that would be wonderful. She sort of drifts off, and then she says, but I was talking about the bee moth. We don't say her name. She doesn't like it when we say her name.
Can you write it?
Well, we're inside. I don't think she's quite far off. She's the other side of the river. Her name is Factner. She is the largest creature I have ever seen. I'm gonna type it out on the Roll20 chat so you can see it.
The name, you mean?
Yes. Factner.
Factner.
She is big.
I don't see it.
Brown.
Is it in Where is it? Roll20 Discord? Where is it?
Roll20.
Oh, it's on the canvas.
Oh, I see.
Factner. Factner. Okay.
Bam.
But what amount of creature is she?
She demands curious music. I need to find it.
Oh. I thought you were genuine. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can sing.
Yeah, she burst. This is now a musical. She is round as a boulder, broad as 4 trees. She is big. Her claws are vicious and as big as I am. I think she's a bear. That's what they're called. I haven't seen many of them. Well, she's the only one I've ever seen, and I haven't heard of many of them in the Bristley Woods before. And she is hungry all the time. We have to keep feeding her. This is why, and she kind of then looks around, and she kind of notices there's like bits of wicker all over the floor here. So this is why we make all these traps. She just needs fish, these salmon, all the time. And you'd think she'd get full, but she doesn't.
But why doesn't she simply take her fill of salmon, and why does she demand this fealty from you and yours? For what? Is there anything that she exchanges for the service you provide?
Well, she was useful during the war. None of the boars would come near here. I think they could smell her on the wind, and they would just never bothered us. But in return, we had to feed her. And now that the war's over, the boars are gone, but she's not leaving. We tried moving. We used to live further up the river, and we thought, well, maybe this is just where she lives. And that's why she's like, if you want to live in my neck of the woods, you have to feed me. You have to fish. And we moved, and she followed us, and we moved again, and she followed us again. And she And Cirrus pauses. Well, she made it very clear that she was just going to keep following us, and that it was easier to feed her than it was to not.
I think because Balthazar, he's never seen a bear. He probably thinks that she's the size of a boar. Just as he listens to Cirrus, I just think that he's kind of sitting, down, like hunched over, like listening to her intently, and just like a hand, like one of his hands, kind of falls on the hilt of his sword, hearing, oh, it's easier to feed me than not. Like, because that's like a threat, and he's just like, he says, has she arrived here during the Boer Wars, or has she been here before that?
The top burner, Callum, he runs the kilns that make the charcoal we sell on. He struck a deal with her. I think she lived round here, and because I didn't grow up, she wasn't here when I grew up, when I was just a little wee thing. She came round around the beginning of the Boer War. I think Callum struck a deal with her, and then I don't know if that deal ever ended. I think she just stayed. Callum doesn't like to talk about it. He gets very angry. He has a lot of pressure on him, though, so I understand, but it's it's something.
Balthazar kind of considers, all of this, because this isn't pertinent to, exactly what they've been looking for in terms of the involvement of the Gilded Knowers. But this is still concerning, because these people kind of live threatened by this behemoth, but it sounds like a very big one. He kind of considers this and says, has Callum ever revealed the anything about this deal that he struck beyond the fact that he struck it? How does one... I'm sorry, what manner of beast is Callum to approach a behemoth with a deal?
He's what kind of beast he is? He's a beaver. He makes little huts on the river, and he runs the Charmounds. I'd say, well, I wasn't. This is before my time, but they set up Grinder's Nest. Not Callum, but the charcoal
Weavers.
Burners, not the Wicker Weavers. They came later. That was my mum. She came in. She was part of the Wicker Weavers that helped grow Grinder's Nest. But originally, it was charcoal burners. And Callum, he's old enough. I wouldn't say that he's a leader, but it feels like, I don't know. He just did. He just struck the deal. Now that I think about it, it's not like we decided that he was making decisions for us. I just feel like it just happened. Like, we all live here, and he is a representative of the Charcoal Burners Guild, and he just made that decision. I guess it made the most sense for the guild.
Well, and I can see how it would seem like a boon at the time, but it seems this Fatna has overstayed her welcome, but is still throwing her weight around, ordering all of you to continue the service. And that simply sounds like tyranny to me.
And I want you to make a willpower check for me.
Okay.
Similar to how kind of questioning art tastes of our shrew earlier was like going against internal narratives. I feel like this is also challenging language.
Yeah. Can I tag compassionate demeanor in terms of she can see that he is like quite, taken with the situation, but rather than accept it, he's kind of like, well, that isn't right, and she can see that it's coming not from like a place of genuine, like, a feeling of righteousness, and kind of this outsider comes here and just kind of calls it what it is, even if it's an what is it called, an inconvenient truth. It is still a truth to be brought to light, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I have an extra to this. Mm-hmm. Your token is auto other. I feel like here you're trying to help someone else make a realization. I think this could count if you wanted to use it here.
Sure, I think that's an interesting way. We've never used this for kind of in this situation.
Because you're helping someone else. This role is to see how well that goes, but I think you could use your boon here to like tick this as I've helped someone else come to this realization, right?
Sorry guys, if we're fighting a bear later,
or you could roll with advantage.
Well, the thing is, I think I'd rather roll with advantage, because honestly, I'm not like that gung-ho about like changing her mind. This is just Balthazar saying what he thinks is the case. So I will
roll
tag
with
the compassionate and roll with advantage.
Oh. And you rolled a success,
as
well as you can.
Which was funny.
That is a real range.
Mm-hmm.
She nods. And she's like, well, it can feel like it's a lot, but I know if we work as a village, we keep it together, and it's not too bad. We always meet her demands, and she does scare off. I mean, if the boars come back, you don't know. They might come back in the winter, and it could be, the end of all of us.
Well, I would hope they don't. I did not fight in this war and see my fellows die to have this blight return upon the land.
She's a little quiet at that.
He got a little tense, but I think he kind of shakes his head a little bit and says, but I see why Hayden's art would upset you and yours. When it's
a complicated situation. I just want everyone to be happy. And I think at this point there's a little hello, Siri, are you there? And then I don't know, I was trying to do the shrew's voice, but it really, I don't know where it went. But the shrew is at the door and opens the door, and then Pipistrelle and the shrew enter. And the shrew's like, we got your rather interesting note.
Can I? Or
it
did
says
you
were over here.
It?
And she's kind of just holding it rather proudly. And Pipistrelle,
I can still
what happened
use
is
the W.
you went back. You went to the area and you found the card. And the shrew was looking at it like, yes, this is very interesting. And then you, Pipistrelle, picked it up and read it and went, they're over here, I think. And the shrew took the paper and was like, yes, of course. And you get the vibe that the shrew isn't literate.
Okay.
I also have a question, sorry, very quickly, but since Thistle's lack of interest in this poor weasel, have they made their way back as well? Just to see if we can get everybody in on the scene?
Yeah, maybe Thistle ran into Pip as they were coming over.
Yeah.
I could have now accompanied them back.
The gang's back together.
Hell yeah.
There we go. Thistle had to behold
you're now
the extremely lavish W.
All crammed into this now it's sizable hut for 2 bats. But now there's a toad, a lizard, 2 bats, and a shrew.
It's a very full house.
Maybe we should take this house.
Yeah.
Hello. You found Hayden. That is so good. Wow. What happened? Pipistrelle, my new friend here, was telling me about the storm. I mean, we had the storm as well, but about the lightning strike, and she's sort of like trying to peer up onto the bed.
Yeah.
Like, I heard he broke his wing. That's so horrible.
I feel like Thistle, in like 5 seconds that they've known this shrew, is already sick to death of her.
Oh no!
So they probably see Hayden on the bed and just importantly bustle their way over there because this is their patient. Now, like using this as an excuse to get away from the shrew and also maybe hide Hayden from view a little bit. Like a way to get back at her.
You obscure, like you move into the path of, and you could just hear a very, very small just anyway, yes. Oh, you must be heartbroken, Siri, just to have your poor brother. Oh, it's just, and everything he lost. Oh, that's terrible. Thistle, you are examining Hayden, and he is asleep. He doesn't seem to be doing too badly. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is he still not woken up this entire time? Has Hayden just been...
He's very sleepy.
Very sleepy.
Thistle, because you're the one checking him over, why don't you make a cunning roll for me?
Yes, sir. Is this just a normal one?
If you want to tag anything. This is for checking over your patient.
Yeah, triaging. I could tag triaging.
Yeah, sure. That counts. Oh, critical success.
Ooh.
He is fake sleeping.
Yeah, I 100% do that.
He's fake sleeping.
You check over and he like, you kind of go to like look at his arm and he flinches, even though his eyes are closed, even though you haven't touched him. He's like fully awake.
I think Thistle is also like fake checking him over, so they're not gonna tassel.
Mm-hmm. You make more of a very much
his
imperiously.
wing in another place.
Just because you can.
Broke his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, someone just accidentally threw him out this window.
Crazy.
Balthazar!
God, like Balthazar.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Who's snapping twigs in here?
Yeah, I'm like, Thistle notices this and is also just kind of like peeved that they didn't get any worthwhile resources from the non-stitcher.
I think to add not insult to injury, but upon them coming back, Balthazar would kind of say, "Oh, have both of you found what you were looking for? Did they have a stitcher here, Thistle?"
Very, very snobbishly. So it's like, they do not.
Oh.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame indeed. Well, Sirius, would you be able to tell my companions what you had told me about Vatna?
And Pipistrelle, you
Hello.
had a very brief, vague description of like, oh, we have to give tribute to a protected friend in the way of fish, as you had explained to you. And when Fatna's name is spoken, you see the shrew immediately tense up.
Oh, okay. So this really is like a universal
More situation.
Yeah, like, is this why they call it the hungering?
Probably.
It's like, it's not like their hunger, it's like this...
It's her hunger.
Yeah, this insatiable... Oh.
You guys
Okay.
get the feeling that's what's going on.
I feel
It's
like...
a euphemism.
Yeah, I feel like Pipistrelle, to the shrew... I'm so sorry, I keep forgetting her name. My memory is terrible.
Hiva.
Hiva, yeah. To Hiva, would say is like... Almost like a light bulb moment, her eyes gonna get all wide for a second. She's like... the hungering. Is this what the hungering is? This behemoth, this bear? Because I don't think she's ever seen a bear. I think she's seen depictions of bears, probably in like tapestries and stuff. Oh no, but she's never actually seen a bear. She has no frame of reference.
And I think both at once, Cirrus is like nodding and agreeing, and it's like, yes, that's a way of calling it. But speaking over her, Kiva is like, that's not polite to say. We are just happy little workers, and we're getting fish. And the otters love it, and everything's fine.
Oh, okay.
And there's like an awkward silence. They both look at each other.
I think while they're looking at each other, I think Pip might like look at Thistle and then look at Balthazar quite pointedly, like, this is weird, right? This is a weird vibe. Yes.
I think when Kiva, who said
Kiva.
Sounds Skeever, like from Skyrim. He says, like, it's all fine. I think this is when Thistle turns around from the patient's like, well, sounds not fine.
Telling them like it is.
And Balthazar will kind of nod and says, well, I suppose while some can fulfill the quota, souls such as Hayden here find themselves ostracized for not providing for the community at the threat of some unspoken violence. Not very fair to all, even if some are happy with it.
Kiva gives her a little humph and then gives Pipistrelle you sort of like a knowing look, as if you're in on a joke.
Oh, okay. With my good judge of character, like, and also the fact that I'm kind of overly suspicious, like what is she trying to convey to me that I'm in on? Like, what is the vibe that I'm getting at the moment from her?
Oh, it's not like he was threatened. She's just lazy. Like, that's the joke.
Oh,
like, everyone knows that Hayden's just lazy. Like, he's the problem. Oh,
really? Oh, okay. I think Pip kind of, like, she'll kind of, like, she'll smile, but it's like a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
I imagine it's
she treats it like a victory.
Yeah, like, but I think,
you know that gif of that woman who goes like, haha, what the fuck? But she's like smiling and looking like she's laughing.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I just kind of imagine it's that.
That's Pipistrelle.
Yeah.
But I think she's like, for that moment, Pipistrelle will remember that. Like, because, like, I don't know, this is a bit weird for her. Like, because, you know, there are definitely sort of artisan-type people in Odok, and, like, there are people who make stuff. And, yes, it's functional, but it is also beautiful, so she kind of doesn't really understand the issue that people have with Hayden. But she's not gonna challenge anybody about that now. That just doesn't seem appropriate. But I think she'd say, like, well, I suppose, you know, regardless of, you know, our opinions, you know, we're not from around here. It sounds like an awful lot of work, though, to keep this behemoth fed all the time. You know, surely you must get tired of it sometimes. I think she's kind of looking more at the shrew at this point than the bat.
And I think the shrew, oblivious to, like, your pointedness, is just like, well, as long as everyone pulls their weight, we get by perfectly fine. And we have our orders from Summit as well, and we're well connected here. Yes. Anyway, I think I need to get back to making those trap ends. I will see you tonight, probably, at supper, Cirrus, and maybe Hayden as well. And I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. And the shrew sort of... Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Kind of out of the hut.
Oh my god.
What was
that? Pip informs Balthazar about this shrew that she found making baskets.
Oh.
She seemed very polite when she invited me in for tea.
Cirrus kind of says, yes, she's a dear friend.
This was like
Does
seems a bit cuckoo.
She
just is
voices
a
her-
she's a very friendly shrew. Loves to talk to everybody.
Mhm.
Mm.
With a bit of space in the hut now, Cirrus is going around and sort of picking up bits of wicker that are on the floor and are half used or unused, and is sort of like putting them into a trough of water, sort of cleaning up now that there are unexpected guests.
Oh.
Suppose. I hope that Hayden wakes soon. I think I would like to speak with him to ask whether he truly would want to go to Summit, or perhaps if he would want to stay here, or perhaps make a trek for the Bristley Woods, where I do imagine that his artisanal skills would find use. Not to mention any log would be lucky to behold an artist such as himself. Look what he made! And he's going to... Yeah.
You notice as he's saying this that, I feel like Hayden is actually... He's not dumb. And I think he knows that you were also hamming up the checking over. Maybe. And he kind of opens one eye very slightly and kind of looks you in your eye. And then very slowly closes it and rolls over. But then he goes, winces a little bit silently, and then kind of goes back to lying down.
Aww.
Because he, like, half rolls onto his broken wing, and he's like, oh.
Oh. Silly Billy. Has anyone else...
And Balthazar is going to just point at the window at the horse. Behold, the horse.
Oh, Pip's
What?
gonna go and have a look at that. Yeah, she's like, what are you talking about? What's a horse?
The horse? I've never seen a beast like that. I do not know if it is one that lives in our world or one that has come from Hayden's untamed artistic imagination, but look, it has no toes.
No toes?
No toes! Who would have thought of
Oh my god.
only an unprecedented artistic genius.
I don't think Thistle understands this is art. And when Balthazar says, like, this isn't a beast that lives in our world, Thistle's like, yeah, I don't think that's alive.
You look at it, and there is a reminiscent memory. It seems its form is familiar in that in the old Stitcher halls of Holdall, they did have wooden reconstructions of anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
Where the muscle groups were made out of bits of wicker, and you could move them. There was a semi-usable skeleton. And when you look at this, all you think is, oh, that's wrong, ribs don't go there. I've never seen an animal like this, but boy,
Yeah,
it would suck to live.
Yeah.
live.
You couldn't use this. You could not reference this. This is terrible.
Do they say that loud?
No, they would just say, like, it's not alive.
Statue, Thistle. It is an artistic interpretation. It is Hayden's soul, rendered with wicker.
It's not very accurate.
Well, do you know what a horse is?
Well, I don't know what a horse is, but I could definitely tell you that would be painful. Painful to exist like that.
Perhaps that's why Hayden made it. To explain how painful his own existence is in this town.
Oh my god.
Jeez, Balthazar.
Is he okay?
I think we need a therapy session for Balthazar.
What? No, he says for Hayden's. That's why Hayden made it. To explain his pain in being in this town.
True. It's just it seems like it's a very kind of oddly poignant thing for Balthazar to come. I mean, it's one of those
No, it's
disheartening.
art.
Honestly.
It's art. That's why Balthazar gets it. He's just like,
He's just,
art?
it's
What are you
like, there's a
talking
moment
about?
of insight that I don't think anyone had into this piece of artwork.
Yeah.
And I think there's a quiet silence, and like, Cirrus tilts her head slightly, as if maybe seeing it in a new light.
Oh, that's sweet, actually.
and I think, yeah.
And I think-
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, because I'm not sure if it was Eve or Thistle saying what's art.
Oh yeah, no. I think it would be funny. I do think it would be funny if Thistle said that.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
what's art? I think like as maybe Sirius is having like this moment of Balthazar turns to Thistle and says, art is it's expression. It's a way to capture feelings in a way that is physical and possible to share with others. It can evoke things in others as well, their own emotions, their own interpretations. Art is used for story, it's used in song and dance. It's sometimes very literal, sometimes very esoteric, sometimes taking the form of a horror. Many things, but I think at the end of the day, in it perhaps not serving a practical purpose, it serves some way of connecting one person to the other. Just beholding the Horus, maybe there's something that Hayden wanted to say that he could not in words, but could through his art, for us to behold and see, and try to glimpse a little bit of the things that were perhaps tearing at the fringes of his soul.
Oh, all right, yeah, I get it. Don't.
Thistle does not get it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like
makes
that is
total
a
sense.
good place to end today's session.
Okay.
Deep conversations about art.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, the camera pans out of everyone staring out of this small window at this rather warped idea of what a horse is.
Poor Thistle.
I do feel bad for them right now because I feel like for them just like, what the fuck is going on?
This town sucks. They don't have a stitcher. They have really inaccurate anatomical models. I hate it here.
I want to go home.
So, thank you for joining me today on this wonderful journey into the uselessness of art.
Yeah. Everyone, art is useless, and you should be a productive member of society instead.
Yeah, we're establishing the Beast Fables canon that art is pointless, and if
Art
you're
is
an artist,
pointless.
yeah, you should feel
Get a job
bad
in
about
IT.
yourselves. Yeah, get a
Yeah.
job.
Beast Fables, Chapter 2, Give Up on Your Dreams.
If you were ever an artist, fuck you.
Uh-huh.
If you ever created anything in your life, go fuck yourself.
Oh,
Beast
on that
Fables.
lovely message, on that wonderful moral imperative, I have been Brian. I have been joined by Pipistrelle, Balthazar, and Thistle, played by Atlanta, Ver, and Eve. I just like exaggerating.
Okay, I don't know why I was scared that you
I know
might
it's
not
like,
land
my
on
name
Eve.
is Eve.
Yeah, yeah, I also had that fear. I had that
Brian, you know me.
social anxiety for Eve for some reason.
I don't know. I mean, do we truly know anything? Do we
I
truly
don't.
know anyone?
Right. Don't know me. I'm an enigma.
Enigma, please reintroduce yourself for the crew.
Hi, I'm Eve. My pronouns are they, he, and I'm Eve G. Wood on social media, and I've been playing Thistle, the lizard who doesn't know a single goddamn thing.
Nice.
Ver.
Perfect.
How's you?
PBCPX, yeah, PBCPX everybody. I have been Ver. You can find me on social media, Verface, at Twitter, Sticks and Sharks, at Tumblr. And you can also support me on Patreon, at Verface. Thank you, Brian, for this strange and fun game. Thank you, Atlanta and Eve, for tolerating Balthazar. And remember, everybody, art is fucking useless.
Atlanta. And Atlanta.
Hello. I'm Atlanta, your general puddle of a human being. I've been playing Pipistrelle. You can find me at Twitter at Alpaca Scribbles, at Instagram at Alpaca Scribbles, Alpaca_Scribbles. Apologies. Yeah, art is useless. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. Message endorsed by Beast Fables. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Art is dead.
Art is dead.
Useless. It's just the worst, really.
It is the worst.
I
What
chose